Hi, I'm Chuck Gilmore with Power to Sing, and this is Power to Sing Live number 18. Gifted voices can hurt. Gifted singers can hurt their voices. Now, probably can't. Okay, so um, this topic today can be kind of, I think, is really interesting because it's the source of all of my singing. Well, one of the sources of my singing sorrow in my life, and that is that when I was younger, I had a friend. I had several friends that were just really good natural singers, and I could not. I just couldn't do what they could do. So. So what is a gifted? I don't know. First of all, I'm not a gifted singer. By that I mean that it just didn't come natural for me to go from low into to the middle and up into my head voice and back down again. In fact, I would sing to a certain point, and if I said oh, that's the E above middle C, I just strained like crazy to get to that, and I would just stop because I knew that something bad was going to happen if I went any further. So as a result, I thought that was the top of my voice. And my teacher said, well, you're a bass. And so everything that we did was below that middle E, or that E above middle C. And I had friends, though, that could sing, well up into their head voice. And let's see here. I want to just change this picture a little bit. Okay, so there's my little logo up there. Power to Sing. I like for that to be there, just so that when you're watching, you remember who this is. Okay. Anyway, so my best friend was a tenor, and great singer, and we sang together all the time. And I sang bass, so we just had a great time harmonizing and do all kinds of fun songs. As I've gotten more wise through the years, I learned that, in fact, I can go up higher. I just didn't know how. So the gifted singer, they're just born with this ability. They naturally can sing from low to high, and good for them. And I admire them. I'm a little jealous of them. I'm a lot jealous of them. And they're, when I went to the university, all these great, you kind of progress in your hometown. You kind of work your way up to be, at least in my experience, I got leading roles in school plays, and I was in the madrigal group. We went to Europe. I was in choir for 3 years, madrigals for 3 years. We just did all these things, and so you kind of work your way up to the top, and then you go to a university. I went to Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah, United States, and there were, at the time there were 25,000. It's much larger now, but all of the people who were like me all converge. And so in the music department, you've got all these great singers, and I thought I was good, but I hear these people singing, and they could just get up there into their head voices, and they don't even seem to try. So I started taking lessons at the university, and one of my teachers, he said, I know you can get up there. I just don't know how to get you there. And I didn't believe him. I just thought, well, I can only go a certain point, and my voice doesn't go any higher. But the gifted singer can just sing up there, and they've done it all their lives, and so they really don't. A gifted singer, and it's no fault of their own. They just were born with this gift. They can get up there, and there's maybe there's a little strain, but they can just get up there. And then they have these great high notes, and so they're the ones that get all the solos. And anyway, so as I've become experienced in this, and as I've gone through this process, I've learned what it takes for a non-gifted singer like myself to get through the top. If you're a male, you feel like it's the top of your voice. If you're female, it's kind of the middle. And just that middle area is so challenging. It's where it wants to crack, break, strain, and flip, and so forth. Well, I've learned that it's not the top, and that you in the women's voices in the middle area there, from like anywhere from F to C sharp, it's mainly A, B flat, B, C, and C sharp. Those are just what we call the bridge, and so you can transition through that area. So us guys, we can transition through what we thought was the top. We can transition into our what's head voice. So well, the natural singer can just do that. I was 43 years old before I learned that I could do it, and 44 years old really when I started doing it. And that was about 20 years ago, so yes. So I got a note from a singer. His name is John. He's from Kazakhstan, just above. Is it above or below Russia? He's just maybe above Russia. I can't remember now. Sorry, John. Someone can help me with that. And he said, well, let me see if I'm going to have to pull it up here. Hold on just a second. I can find it for you. Hold on just a minute. He said, my name is John. I'm writing from Astana, Kazakhstan, faraway country next to Russia. He complimented the website. It's an amazing website, contains precious information and an amazing knowledge center. Thank you. He said, I'm a singer, songwriter, musician. May I have your consultation and advice? I can reach the A4, that's the A above middle C, in his chest voice. But can I go higher, like C5? How do I know if my chords are flexible? Here is one of the songs, and he sent me one of his songs. And as I listened, I thought, man, this guy is just a natural singer. Great voice, John, if you happen to listen to this video. And a natural-born singer. And so he wanted to know whether he could pull that chest voice all the way up to the high C. So my response was, yes, you have a great voice and a gift. You do it naturally. This makes it a challenge because you can use your gift to reach the A4, but over time you may find that your voice may begin to get tired and maybe even a little hoarse as you keep doing it. You can reach the C5 and also improve your lower notes, eliminating all vocal abuse by learning how to bridge. So your chords are flexible enough to make the adjustment to be able to sing to the C5, but it begins the first bridge, which is E, F, F sharp, above middle C. So what I'm saying to him is that yes, he can sing the high. Essentially what I'm saying is you probably shouldn't be using your chest voice on the F sharp, or on the on the A above middle C, A4. I don't want to try it, but there's a way to learn how to. So let me back up. The point is, the gifted singer can do that, and it sounds pretty darn good. The problem is there really is some strain and some stress on the voice. And over time, it starts to wear the voice down. Now, here's some things that happen as I've started working with singers and teaching full-time the last 8 years. Some of the gifted singers, as they would sing on the higher pitches, all of a sudden they would get a crack. And they said, how do I stop that? Or a break. Without warning, it would just happen. Boom. Or a word would suddenly kind of go, wah, it kind of splat a little bit. Another thing that would happen to the gifted singer, the higher a gifted singer sings, the more tension and squeeze and reach is used to get the notes. This starts to tire and wear out the voice. And after an evening of singing, a gifted singer who's singing this way, who's pulling up the lower part of the chest voice up into the head area, they get hoarse and even lose their voices or just really feel it the next morning. It also can get pitchy. In other words, the pitch can start to suffer. Maybe not at first, but after a few years of singing this way, it starts to affect the pitch. Or the vibrato starts to slow down, even get to the point where instead of being it's it starts to wobble a little bit. And this happens, and so if a gifted singer is abusing, the voice ages faster. And eventually you can lose it. You can lose your gift. So there are, of course, exceptions to this. But it does happen. It happens too often. Now, I want to just make a comment while I'm thinking of it that I do want to address problems and I want to address questions and answers. Okay, so let me just stop right now for a second and see what I can do here, because it looks like there's some comments on it. So I'm really want to welcome all of you. Thank you for being here. Jacob Barnes, thank you. I just see you just found my channel. Be sure and subscribe. Bey from Turkey, hi, awesome that you're here with us. Well, Jacob, Jacob says, yeah, I know someone in my school. She thinks she's a better person than anyone. Yeah, no, I know what you mean, and it's too bad. When you learn how to do this, you want to make sure that you treat everybody with respect, because you know what it feels like to kind of be looked down on. How long will you be streaming? I'm sorry, I'm not sure what. Sorry, not strong. When? When will you be streaming? I try and do this weekly about this time. I'm going to get better at posting in advance. Claudia, how does a gifted singer mean only from a technical point of view or also from a musical point of view? Great question. I find that some people who might not have a very gifted voice might have great musicality. And not only great musicality, they're good actors. And so, yeah, it helps. It makes a big difference, in fact. You can have a really technically perfect singer who sounds like they're taking a voice lesson when they're on stage. In other words, it's just technically perfect, but it's kind of boring. Then you have some other singers who are not technically perfect, who are, maybe average or whatever, but man, they connect emotionally to their song inside, and they are just sharing it, and the audience doesn't care. But so what I'm not really saying it's going to sound better or sound worse to the audience for a gifted singer to abuse or not abuse their voice. What I am saying is that over time they can lose their gift because of vocal abuse, because you can abuse and sound so good if you have a gift. I mean, it can just sound so great, but in fact they're pulling, or you're pulling chest, or the larynx is riding too high, or any number of things. And so you're going to wear your instrument out. Other questions, let me just see here. What if you use open throat technique? I'm not sure what that is. Sorry, Osminium Studios. I'm training, this is from Bey, from, I think you said, Bey, did you say Turkey? Let me just check that. Yeah, hi, Bey. Sorry for my bad English. Look, your English is much better than my Turkish, whatever that language is called. I'm training for 7 months with an opera singer teacher. After lessons, in 2 days, my voice started dropping down. I have to speak with customers more than 7 hours a day. Started drop down. I'm not sure what you mean, by your voice starting to drop down. Was that a bad thing that was happening? That when you talk to customers, something was happening? I will say that no matter what you're studying, whatever technique, having to speak 7 hours speaking is very challenging for the voice. Thanks, Claudia. Yeah, that's one great thing about live streaming, that we can just address questions. I pull up my chest today, but also flip my false. So I started trying to bridge. Yes, trying to bridge and mixing is the same thing, because in the bridge you've got chest voice and you also have head voice. If they're both working, what do you have here? In that bridge, you've got chest and head blended together or mixing together. It's not the only place where you can mix or should mix, but that's really where it's prevalent, prominent, and it has to happen there. It really must happen, or we can't mix. So, well, I'm getting away from what I want to talk about here, because I want to continue on with the gifted voice, and then we'll come back to more questions. And Kate, I'd like to pick it up there and talk a little about what you're questioning, or your question. However, let me continue with the gifted voice, and then we'll come back. There are always exceptions. I think Donny Osmond is one. For those of you who are familiar with Donny Osmond's work, I don't think he's had a voice lesson in his life. And he's a gifted singer, and he doesn't really abuse his voice. And so he's had a lifelong career. I think Michael Jackson was also a gifted singer. In his particular genre, he could abuse easier, and so he began studying with Seth Riggs and studied with him for 25 years, and Seth kept him healthy. When you get at the level of these people like Michael and Donnie and others, they have to be really careful that they don't abuse their voice, particularly when they're on tour. I mean, it's just it's a killer. Performing nightly, big sets, and some of the music can get extravagant, and I'll talk a little bit about that, what you can do to help protect yourself. But Michael studied with Seth, and Seth kept him always tuned up at a very high performance level. So what are the solutions? What's the solution if you have a gifted voice, or how do you don't have to necessarily learn how to bridge, because you can already get up into that area. Maybe you're pulling chest. Maybe you just get up there with a little bit of pulled chest. Or maybe you don't. Maybe it's just a natural thing that you. I think Donny Osmond's probably more like that. I'm just giving my opinion. I've never, maybe I've shook his hand once, many years ago. But listening to him sing, I think he does it really, really well, and there's not a lot of abuse in that voice. But there are other gifted singers who really are gifted, but there's a lot of abuse. So how do we help them? What's important for them? When a singer comes in as a gift, the first thing I want to do is address that bridge, E, F, F sharp above middle C. For the women, A above middle C, B flat, B, C, C sharp area, because we've got to get the tension, the reach, the strain, and the stress out of the voice in that area, so that the top so that they're able to do the top without any strain as well. So let me list some things here. First, you have to learn how to feel that mix, which means that as a gifted singer, a lot of times you can sing ah, and if I kept going, it would get harder and harder. That's done a lot, that kind of sound. Ah, and So it can be pretty damaging. So what has to happen is they have to learn how to get through this. So there's the C sharp, or the C that, oh, that's the D, high D, that John was asking me about from Kazakhstan. Yeah, it's possible to get up there, but you want to learn how to bridge so that by the time so when you go through the first bridge and then go through the second bridge, which is what I just did, you're not carrying weight, you're not carrying the bottom. So you've got to learn how to do that. You have to learn how to mix and keep that mix going all the way up through the different bridges, and there's more than one bridge. Learning to manage vowels. I get the singer a lot of times if they just learn how to take a wide or open vowel and narrow it down a little bit. So if I said, let's just say the words every. So there's a little bit of a splat to that. If I said a little bit of a, from to every, it puts me in a mix. It gets the chest voice and the head voice going at the same time. Listen. Chest. Mix. Every. And so just by adjusting that vowel, and this is true on different vowels in the just before and in the middle and just above the bridges, anything in just a few before the bridge and pretty much anywhere up in your head voice into multiple bridges above the first bridge, this is an important thing to learn how to do. I've talked about this in previous videos, but if you go and listen to Michael Jackson's Bad, his song Bad, on the chorus, this is bad, 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 and I think he's up around the C sharp or something like that. And he doesn't say ba-ah, not the first word at least. Go listen to it. Listen to it carefully. You'll find out what he's saying. He's narrowing the vowel from a to e. Monitor the extravagant and check yourself to prevent any abuse. So when you're doing your songs, if you're extravagant, meaning if you start spreading the vowel, if you start pulling the chest voice, or if you do a lot of scream, or if you do a lot of growl, those are the kinds of things that maybe you only do it twice in a song, but if you do 20 songs a night, and twice per song, you've just done it 40 times on your voice. It's just like kind of hitting it over and over again, and the voice is going to suffer. And you do that times a few years, and you stand in you put yourself at risk. Remember what you do on your recordings, your fans expect at the concert. That's people go expecting to hear exactly the way you do it on a recording. You may not want to abuse in every song. In fact, I would say you probably not want to abuse at all. Turn down the volume. Reduce growls. Warm up and warm down after your gigs. Make sure that you can bridge on each vowel with even, sustained, balanced tone and vibrato. If not, abuse is taking its toll. So what happens after a few years of abuse? Instead of saying, oh, well, maybe I've already showed you, but oh, if it's an oh, starts to get a little bit wobbly. And then the pitch suffers, the pitch goes down, and there's that wobble. And then your career is at risk. It's a good idea to check your voice out with a professional teacher who can help identify the abuse. Sometimes you just don't recognize it. You don't wait till you get into trouble. Give yourself time to break lifelong habits. This is so challenging, especially if you have a gift and you can do it and it sounds pretty good. You got to be patient with yourself because it's going to be different. It's going to be like you've learned to if you've ever seen the movie Chariots of Fire, the runner there has, from England, one of the runners has, I'm forgetting his name, it'll come to me in a minute. He's won all of his races. And then the guy from Scotland, Eric Liddell, beats him. And so he's devastated. He's won every race in his life. He's never lost. And then Eric Little beats him. And so he hires a professional coach. And he, guess what he does? He has to start completely over again. He retrains him in every way. And in that way, he's able to compete, not only compete in the Olympics, but he held the record for the 100-yard dash for, I don't know, for years and years and years, without all the modern equipment of shoes and so forth. Someone will remember that name too. I can't remember his name right now. It's a great show. So a gifted singer, you may have to relearn some things. It's going to set you back for a while. I guess it's like learning a new golf swing. I'm told that when Tiger won some, he won some big golf tournament, and then like the following Monday, he was back with his coach changing his swing. So, this is an example of a professional who's trying to get better. And this is what will happen. Even if you're a gifted singer, you can probably find ways to do it better. It's going to sound as good, but it's going to extend your career for a lifetime. Instead of maybe only having 10 years, you're going to get 30 years or 40 years or 50 years. If you abuse and continue to abuse, save your money, because your career is not going to last that long. Okay, so let me take some questions here and see if I can get back to Cade Herrera. I pull my chest up to hit the E, but I also flip into falsetto. I've started trying to bridge. Yes, and mixing and bridging is the same thing, but it's strained and quiet, but there's no flip. Am I doing it correctly? Of course, I would have to hear you, Cade, in order to answer that question. It's very possible you're doing it correctly. And at first, it can be lighter, and it might sound weaker, but you're learning a new coordination. So if I had a problem of breaking every time I went through the bridge, one exercise is really good is nay, 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 nay. That's not my full voice, but I'm not pulling chest, and it's not falsetto. It's deeper than falsetto. So I've connected the chest to the head. Now all I have to do is just keep working it to get it stronger. So at first, you may find that it's not as strong and powerful as you want, but you're learning something new. It's going to take a little while. So, or there's other ways to do it. The gee with a dopey sound will also connect the bottom to the top. Open throat technique. Thank you. When you use vowel modifications and you pull your chest quite a bit, and you can connect high in your chest and use a lot of support. Yeah, I'm just not really familiar with that. So what I teach is just a way to get through the bridge without any reach or tension, and get through the bridge getting into head voice without reach or tension, so that then the rest of the vocal, so I try and keep everything, extrinsic muscles out of it, and so that the vocal folds, the vocal cords themselves, right here in the larynx, can do the job, because they're capable of doing that. So it's not an easy thing to do. But at first, it comes out maybe like ma 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 ma. It's just not very maybe powerful. But eventually, in time, ma 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 ma. And there's no tension, and there's no reach, there's no strain, and that's certainly that that strength is potentially available to us throughout our range. Um, into That's the beginning of the second bridge. That's the A above middle C. And so there's no real need for pulling chest when you can get a chest sound without, while still in head voice. And the reason is because I'm not disconnecting. I'm not in falsetto. That's my falsetto. I have to reconnect. That's the connected head voice. That is, I haven't lost the connection to the bottom. I haven't had to flip into falsetto. So that's a part of this, of learning how to bridge. And it takes the stress, takes the strain, takes the reach out of the voice. And for the gifted singer, who doesn't even know any different, that sometimes can be a real benefit. And for us non-gifted singers, well, it's like a miracle. At least it was for me. Still is. Does the male singer sing all in head voice after the A flat 4? Good question. Yeah, it's essentially after the G. There's not much chest resonance there. There's still a connection to the bottom if you're in true head voice and not falsetto, which is disconnected. So as you go higher, there's less and less bottom and more top. But if you've kept that connection to the bottom and not flipped into falsetto, there's still tremendous power there. I'm just playing, that's the F sharp, but that wasn't falsetto. I would never sing up there because it's just, I'm actually a bass. That's the low E, but I've got some tenor notes. So that's called basso cantata. So I'm a bass with tenor notes. But yes, pretty much after the G, there's not much head in that. But there's a connection to the bottom because I'm not in falsetto there. So it has some real power in it. Is it possible to be stuck in a particular register, say chest, and not be able to bridge? Yeah, that was my situation. I was stuck in there. I didn't know that I couldn't bridge because I didn't know about the bridge. Yeah, I was just stuck down below. And it took weeks for me to even believe that I could do it. I find that sometimes singing in a strong chest for a while, on comfortable notes, sort of traps you. You know, David, that's a great observation. Like I might do a show, I do musical theater, and if I'm like an ensemble, or even my singing part is pretty much in a bass or a baritone range, if I don't keep doing exercises that take me through the bridge up into my head voice and back down again and keep that going, I start feeling the difficulty enter back in of getting back up into that. So you're exactly right. It does sort of trap you, and that's why even on all the exercises that I do, I always take my students through what's called the 1.5 scale, on 1.5 octave. So that we get some chest, we take them through the bridge, up into head and back down again, and that keeps that door open to the upper. Great comment. I do teach voice lessons online. That's a question, and I have my youngest son who's 22 years old now. He said, "Dad, you got to tell people you teach on Skype." I've got a map now that I've starting to put little stickers of where all my students are. I mean, Cape Town, South Africa, and the Queensland, Australia, and the London, UK. India, a couple students there. I've taught a student in Russia. I've got a bunch of students in the United States who live like in California or New Mexico, or I've done in Florida, Brooklyn, New Brunswick, Canada, and so all around the world, and we can do it on Skype. Now, some of you probably already know there's some limitations to Skype because there's a delay in the sound. I have to play the thing for you, and then you sing it back a cappella. But that's not a big deal. And I've personally had some great lessons over Skype that I've taken for myself. And I've had some really great lessons with my students on Skype. In fact, it's right now I'm approaching almost 30% of all my students or more. 33, 34% of my students are on Skype throughout the world. And my Skype address, I'm going to do a video someday and put it on YouTube and let people know, but it's Chuck.Gilmore3 is my Skype address. Oh, hi, Paul. Oh, well, you're so nice. Thank you, Paul. You're very kind. Paul is a Skype student. I think Paul is in Oregon. And thanks, Paul. Good to see you. Going back up a little bit, I skipped this one. Altug. So we make vowels narrower as we go higher. Very perceptive, yes. And here's the simple illustration. Ah goes to Ah. Now, if I hadn't told you, you probably wouldn't notice that. Ah, because it's like a fraction. It's like 3 or 4 parts ah and 1 part Ah. Now, if I kept it on ah, look what happens. Ah. Yeah, I just pull the chest voice up. The vowel is the holy grail. Somebody said that once. I thought that was kind of fun. There's so much power in taking control of the vowel, and you don't really notice that. You don't notice it in the words, but it makes a huge difference. I have several videos. You can go to powertosing.com, go to the Knowledge Center, and search. There's category drop-down. Search vowels, and I have several things there that you would really enjoy. Okay. Kambakish. Videos are awesome. Thanks. I have a question. My high note is A5, head voice, and my low note is C2, vocal fry. My vocal type is pulled chest, high larynx, and I practice your exercises, but I still have trouble G4, A4, B4. Please help me. Without hearing you, I'm quite sure that what's happening is there's still pull. There's still the larynx coming up, still pulled chest. If the trouble is that it's just hard to reach. Now, if it's weak but connected, that's different. So if I said, oh, nay, 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 that's the beginning. It's connected from chest to head and back, but it's not big and powerful yet. That's okay. But if I said, Mom, no, 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 and cracked when I do them, then the larynx is coming up. So I guess I should ask, and we may not have time to address it here, but I probably would need to know what exactly is happening when you say you have trouble there. Great, Jacob, thank you. I'm glad you're learning how to do those notes. Sorry to hear about your arm. Alejandro, I am fairly new to singing. I have pulled chest, high larynx, and my voice is real good in chest, but I get really tired voice really fast when going high. Should beginners avoid belting? Yes. Belting is basically just pulling the chest voice up. Ah! and it can hurt you. Yeah, so you don't want to do that. The exercises that I provide in powertosing.com for the pull chest high larynx aren't belting. They're to take you through that middle area there carefully so that you're learning to bridge, allowing the resonance, the vibration to shift up into your head and back down again. It helps the vocal cords make adjustments that they must make to get up there. And so I don't teach belting, and I don't encourage you to belt. What in fact I would say, rather than doing it louder, all of us would benefit at first when we learn to do it quieter. No, 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 no. There's nothing wrong with that. You can build on that, but you can't build on it if you're pulling chest voice up. You can't build on it if you're disconnecting into falsetto. We need to wrap this up pretty quick. We've been going 45 minutes or so. I feel a lot of Bahavya. I feel a lot of tension in my neck while speaking and singing. That's not uncommon. I would say that if you haven't gotten your vocal type on powertosing.com, go take the vocal test, the power test, and find out what your vocal type is, and then try and get into those exercises for pull chest high larynx or flip falsetto or light chest no chest, and they may help. But it also could be a medical condition. So if there's pain or difficulty all the time, if you've had this for years, maybe a good start would be go see an ENT, ear, nose, and throat doctor, and have them take a look and make sure things are okay. Sometimes that tension and pain can be acid reflux also, and some other things going on. How do you sing in front of a crowd without being afraid? You do it a whole bunch. If you got accepted in the variety show, Jacob, practice a lot. Practice for your family, practice for your friends, practice with the other people in the variety show. You all will make mistakes, and that's okay. You work all of those mistakes out, get them out before you go live with the production, and just do it a lot, and don't worry about it. The world won't come to an end if you make a mistake in rehearsals and things. And just do it as much as you can, and that's going to help you get over the nerves, over nervousness. Thanks, Paul. Impact culture. How do I fix singing loud with high notes? Learn to bridge, because probably the problem is you're either pulling up chest, or you're cracking or flipping in the falsetto, breaking, or you're going really, really light and breathy, because that's the only way to get through. Again, go to powertosing.com, take the power test, and get your vocal type, and then go to the Knowledge Center, watch all those videos about pull chest high larynx or flip falsetto or light chest no chest. Start working on the exercises, and they're going to help you fix the problem with the upper by teaching you to get through the middle. If you can't get through the middle, then there's nothing you can really do. Hi, Christina. What if we have a deep voice with high pitches and low, but you can feel the tightening of your lungs, so you can't extend your singing that long? What advice do you give? I've never felt tightening with my lungs. I've run out of air before, so I'm not sure exactly what you mean by tightening of the lungs. Most of the time, everything is related to either the larynx going up or the vocal cords coming apart. And if we can fix those two things, most everything gets a whole lot better, a lot faster, and including our breathing. So I'd have to listen to what you're doing to really be able to answer specifically. I'm sorry. Thanks. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. 2 months ago, I strained my voice while singing a high note. Because of that, I have to go on vocal rest for a month, and After that, I'm scared to sing high notes. I'm feeling my strain in my voice again. Yeah, so that's a good point. If you don't learn to do it right, you will. You will strain it again. So vocal rest is good to get you back to health, but you need to address the reason why you needed vocal health. And you need to, I think there's some helps that you can get here in this at this website, powertosing.com. Take the vocal tests. I'm going to guess your pulled chest, high larynx. And then there's videos, like 3 videos that will tell you all about pulled chest, high larynx. And then there's free exercises. You can start working on those. And they're going to help you learn how to get up there with things like just simple things like that is the beginning of getting up into your head voice without pulling your chest up, your chest voice. Thanks, Jacob. I pulled chest voice, and sometimes my voice disconnects and cracks. Yeah. Are dope biggie and nay helpful? Yes, and do them a little soft. So if I said nay, 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 and it cracks, nay, 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 not too loud, or gee, 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 gee. Oh my gosh, when you start feeling that and getting consistent at it, it's a whole new world. Keep after it because you're going to get it, and you'll be able to do it, and it'll be life-changing for you. Kambakash, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce her name. Athari. Keep after it. You'll get it. Oh, impact culture, I'm a man. Okay. I mean, I usually sing loud when I sing high notes. Yeah. So singing loud can be fine if you're doing it correctly. If you're pulling the chest voice up, singing loud is just going to hurt. You could damage your voice. You can get nodules on the vocal cords. Gosh, we got to wrap this up. Thanks for sticking around with us, you guys. Ken Tamplin, I've seen Ken, some of his videos. I don't know him. I've never taken his course. And I'm sure he's really, I think he's probably a really good teacher in his genre. I disagree with his approach overall to singing because there's tension in it, and but it's a quick way to get loud. It's a quick way to get power, but I don't know how much longevity there'll be in the voice. And of course, we would argue. I'm sure we would argue this. He's voiced his opposition to speech level singing, which is fundamentally what I teach. So I know he would disagree. I'm sure he's a great guy. I like his enthusiasm. I think his personality is fun. I would not agree with his approach to developing power in the voice. Mine is a little bit longer, takes longer to get to it, but I think it's where there's longevity for the ability to sing when you're older. But I'm sure he's a great guy. Okay, so I got to wrap this up. Yes, thank you, Mr. Athari. James, some days I can hit a high C. Then some days I can't even sing above high C. Any tips? Well, high C is really high. I mean, that's really high. I don't know how many times you have to do that in songs. It kind of depends on your age. I mean, I can hit a high C. I don't think I've ever sang. Oh, yes, I have sung. I've sung a high C once in a song. It was just passed. I just passed through it. It was something from Evita, and I got to play Juan Perón. It was a really dissonant moment with Evita in a duet we were doing. So fun, but I never had to hold it. Anyway, that being said, if you lose it, it's probably because there's strain and stress. Most of the time, we get into trouble because we start reaching or pulling. The larynx goes up, and that's what. There's a cascade effect that starts us having problems. Okay, I have to call it. I'll probably be doing this again. I will be doing this again in a week. I'm going to try and do better at giving more notice. There's so many things to do. Thanks for joining me. All the best to you. Again, revisiting the question on Skype. I do teach Skype. You're welcome to contact me on my website, powertosing.com. There's on the menu, there's a work with me area there, and you can email me and we can set up a Skype. And within a few weeks, probably in 4 or 5 weeks, I'm just going to you'll have the ability just to go on my website and just schedule a lesson, pay for the lesson, and it'll be on my calendar, and we'll just do it. Skype is chuck.gilmore3, Gilmore. Thanks, everybody. Love and appreciate you. Glad you were here. Yeah, I'm trying to do them, Casio, I'm trying to do them around, well, I'm trying to do it around half hour past, I don't know where everybody lives. In my time, we've gone about an hour. So I like to start a little bit earlier than this, because normally I have a student at the top of the hour, but she's not coming today. So I usually try and start about an hour and a half before this. I'm going to do a better job. Be sure and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you click that little wheel by subscribe and just ask to be notified when something's going, you'll be notified, I think, about the live events. Okay, thanks everybody. You can sing higher with beauty, confidence, and power. I'm Chuck Gilmore, and I'll see you in the next live broadcast or inside my next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.